Sending a kid off to college can be scary. Most parents worry about their safety, but some of the biggest threats might not be what you think.
You might be applying for a job, a summer job, or a job while you're in school and not realizing that that's actually a fake job application, and they're just trying to get that information that you would normally turn over as part of, being hired for a job. Hey, what's your bank account so that we can, direct deposit money to you? What's your birthday? All this other type of information, which you would normally give, not realizing that you're actually being scammed.
Today on Mom Squad, we talk to an FBI agent about the ways college students get scammed online and the red flags to recognize so it doesn't happen to you. That's today on Mom Squad. Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining me here on Mom Squad. I'm Maureen Kyle. At this point, if you have a college student, you've probably already dropped them off at their dorm. Naturally, every parent worries about their child's safety, especially on college campuses. And there's definitely reason to be concerned. According to the most recent government data from the National Center for Education Statistics, crime rates on college campuses increased 8% from 2019. A total of 23,400 criminal incidents were reported. 44% of those are forcible sex offenses. 28% are burglaries. 15% are motor vehicle thefts, and the rest are aggravated assaults, robberies, and a few arson cases. Most colleges and universities are spending more on campus safety to ensure that their schools are as safe as possible. But the other big risks to kids that age aren't always lurking on campus, but rather online. We've talked a lot in the past on Mom Squad about stranger danger switching to online predators, and it's no different for college students. We sat down with FBI Special Agent Patrick Koeth to talk about the biggest scams hitting college kids. So as a parent is preparing to drop their kid off at college, or maybe they just have dropped their student off at college, this is a time when those teenagers and young adults, they have so much freedom. What do you think? Because as a parent, I'm thinking, what is the biggest danger threatening my child on that college campus? And it's changed since I was in college and you were in college. What do you think that a parent should prepare their kid most for?
Well, I mean, when you think about college, right, it's that first instance where a young adult is entering what we'll call the real world, right? And there are dangers associated with the real world, both what you see and what you might not see that's behind the scenes. And it's really those unseen dangers that we focus on, because when we're talking about the internet and all the trip falls and pitfalls with the internet, that's where a lot of the danger actually lies. And it's people both here in the United States and it's overseas actors who, whether it be a scam where they're trying to get your kids money or their personal identifying information, there's all these different schemes depending on what age group you fall under. And college is no exception as there is with elderly.
What is it about college age students that makes them more prime to be a victim of some of these scams?
I think it's just a lack of experience and almost that feeling of invincibility, right? You're a young adult, nothing seems to, you're Teflon, everything seems to bounce off you, not realizing that when you sign up for a new app on your phone or you go to a website that might be new and upcoming, that there's things happening behind the scenes, and that your information, which is your information for a lifetime, your social security number, your birthday, things of that nature, like that's information that's going to follow you for the rest of your life, and there are bad actors out there that are trying to get it. And it might not be to do something now, it might be to do something in the future.
So you would say the biggest target for kids that they need to watch out for, I'm still going to call them kids,
yep.
Would be people trying to get mostly personal information.
I would say so, because the one thing working in college students' favors is they usually don't have money.
Yeah.
So their parents might, but they don't have money. So we don't see a lot of instances of college students being scammed out of money because they're not the prime target. Their parents are, their grandparents are, because they've worked a lifetime to make that nest egg. So what is of benefit to those bad actors out there is their personal identifying information, as well as, hey, what can that kid do for me? Mm-hmm. And there are different instances where they might be asked to do something which seems benign, but they're actually helping, a bad actor commit a crime further.
Mm-hmm. What are some of the signs that somebody has gotten the information, or like when's the light bulb moment for a kid who might have shared a little too much information that now it is in the hands of those bad actors?
There might never be a sign. So again, you might sign up for an app, which who knows what, a dating app or anything like that, and you don't know that that information is actually going to, again, a bad actor. You might be applying for a job, a summer job, or a job while you're in school, and not realizing that that's actually a fake job application, and they're just trying to get that information that you would normally turn over as part of, you know, being hired for a job. Hey, what's your bank account so that we can, you know, direct deposit money to you? What's your, you know, what's your birthday? All this other type of information which you would normally give, not realizing that you're actually being scammed.
So the application.
Sure.
Let's just take the job application. What is it that a job application will never, a legit job application will never ask for compared to maybe a fake job?
Well, no, so that's the differentiation. So there usually is no difference. What happens that we find is, you know, you might have never heard of the company before, and that's really where, you know, when you're talking to your student or your kid, hey, use your spidey senses, as I like to call them, right? Like, use your common sense. If something's too good to be true, be skeptical of it. You know, this age group has been brought up with the internet. Use the internet to your benefit. Do your research. Find out, is this a legitimate company? Has there been complaints that, hey, this is a scam? It doesn't take a lot to find out if something's a scam or not. You know, the issue when you're giving over that personal information, though, is what are they doing with it afterwards? Or what are they asking you to do if you do get that job that doesn't really exist? And a lot of time, and one of the scams that we see is, they'll get a job that doesn't actually exist. They'll be asked to do some meaningless tasks where it's like, oh, forward these emails, or you're going to mail these things, and we're going to send you your payment. Okay, so we're going to send you a check. The college student doesn't realize that that's a bogus check, and then the actor will say, oh, we overpaid you. So say we're paying you $10,000. Oh, we overpaid you by $2,000. Please send us $2,000. Well, before the check even clears, the college student is probably going to send them their own money. And that's where the fraud comes in. So it's like, oh, I sent you a check. I sent you too much. Can you reimburse us to $2,000 of your own money? And then when this college student tries cashing that check, it doesn't clear, and they're out $2,000. Yeah. And that's one of the scams that we see quite often, at least in the younger population.
Yeah. I can see why those are so popular, just because I know on my own Instagram account and other social media accounts, I'm seeing people, influencers will say, I make so much money by, you know, posting this or posting that, and there's now this you know, revenue stream of people not having to work, go to a physical building. They can post things online and make money. Yep. Are those the job postings they need to be most leery of?
Absolutely. And to your point, when it comes to Instagram and you see these lifestyles, investment scams, you might not think that college students are interested in investing money, but they are, right? I mean, they jump on apps like Robinhood, and they want, with the little money they have, they want to make more so that they can spend it while they're at college. And there are these investment scams out there that target, you know, these young adults, where it's like, look, if you follow my investment advice, you're going to make all this money, and it's a scam, right? And a lot of it involves cryptocurrency, and again, the young population is very interested in cryptocurrency, and they're susceptible to wanting to make these big gains in a short period of time, and again, they lose what little they have.
I know, thinking back to, like I said, when we were on college campuses, very different, parents were probably more afraid of maybe any sort of romance dangers. How has that changed over the last even decade? Is it that online more now, or is it still, like, dating would be a concern of mine? There
is, again, there's been a slight shift. So I think the former fear, and it is still an obvious fear, is that who are you actually meeting up with? You know, nowadays, you might never meet up with that person, and the relationship might be online for an extended period of time. And with romance scams, again, the bad actor is trying to get something out of it. And usually it's trying to build this romance, build this confidence between themselves and your kid, in order to get them to do something. And typically, again, it's money. So they might say, hey, I'm having problems sending this money to someone. Can you send it for me? Unbeknownst to them, they're becoming what we call a money mule, and they're actually laundering money, you know, potentially for a cartel. You know, you're thinking, no, I'm talking to this individual online, you know, we have this relationship. They're not asking anything from me. They're not asking for my money. They're just asking that I facilitate something. Well, unbeknownst to them, they're facilitating money laundering for, you know, again, potentially a drug cartel. You know, it's crazy.
we talked about how kids that age just don't have the life experience, and that's what makes them a little bit more susceptible. But you mentioned spidey senses.
Yep.
What? I don't know if I had spidey senses at that age or not, when I'm thinking back. But what are some of the red flags that you would say kids need to look out for in any of these scams? Like, what is that gut feeling? What are those red flags of this isn't right?
So much of it is this is too good to be true. So, whether it's you're trying to buy something online and it's like, this price is just too good to be true. Whether it's, hey, I'm looking at this apartment and again, the rent is too good to be true, but they want the money up front. Anytime that someone wants money up front before a good or a service is provided is a red flag. When you're looking at marketplaces as compared to, like a peer-to-peer marketplace as compared to like an Amazon or a Walmart or any type of, the online stores. Be skeptical. Always be skeptical when you're dealing with people rather than large corporations that are well known. So you have more protections when you're dealing with those large corporations than you do if, I found this great, apartment dining room set that I'm going to buy from this person and they want the money to hold it for me up front. That's really where the scams happen. So anytime someone's asking for money up front, anytime you're never really meeting someone where it comes to that romance scam and there's always excuses. Oh, I can't meet up because of this. I can't meet you because of that. Be skeptical. There's a healthy skepticism at that age. And again, use the experience you do have. You've been brought up in the internet age. Research that telephone number that contacts you. Is it part of a scam? Oh, this company, is it part of a scam? This job offering, is it part of a scam? And they're smart when it comes to those things. So they'll be good if they actually do take that step.
After a quick break, we talk about the personal information that is most detrimental when it falls into the wrong hands, and the one thing to do if you feel like someone has gotten that information. Welcome back. If you're just joining the conversation, we've been going in depth about the threats facing college students, and many of them are online. I ask FBI Special Agent Patrick Koeth what to do if your child accidentally gives away vital personal information. What's the most detrimental piece of information, personal information, that a teenager could give up that would have long-lasting ramifications?
I mean, again, it's your PII. So it's your name, it's your social security number, any type of banking information. Those are usually the big hitters that can follow you, because once you give up your social security number, like, you have one social security number, and that follows you your entire life. And once that's out there, those bad actors can open bank accounts in your name. They can make trades under your name, like take out mortgages later in life in your name, things like that, open businesses in your name, all those types of things, it's scary, but the one good thing is when it comes to, again, the younger population, that 18 to 29-year-old, and I know that would be grad students, right, and things of that nature too, we don't see as much scams happening with that age group, and that circles all the way back to the fact that they just don't have that money. Yeah. But that doesn't mean that they don't become a victim later in life when they're part of a different age demographic.
Yeah. Let's talk about just the physical dangers, too. I want to go over that because that still exists on college campuses. And, of course, kids might be out later than normal. Yep. And this is the first time they are allowed to be out late, yep, and nobody's checking on them. Yep. What kind of dangers, physical dangers, do they need to be aware of on specifically college campuses and the perimeters?
Well, again, know your surroundings. So, a lot of the college towns, they have great campus security and things like that. But just like when I was in college, I always traveled with friends, right? We'd always go to the bar as a group together, or we'd go over someone's house, or we go to an apartment together. Like, always traveling, with a group of people always helps alleviate those things. When we're talking about other dangers, back to meeting people up online, right? Do you actually know that person? Is that actually the real person? Like, we talk about catfishing, and catfishing is a little bit old now, but it's still a real thing. Who are you actually meeting up with? Are you meeting up with them with friends? Are you trying to do a one-on-one? Again, I would always encourage you to travel with a group of people. Again, maintain that healthy skepticism. Try to do your research. Who are you actually going to meet? Look at all the pictures, things of that. Those are those dangers that we worry about a lot of the time. And then, again, not necessarily physical danger, but it could add in physical harm is we talk about the sextortion, right? And as we like to say, the internet is forever. Be weary of what you're providing to people, what you're saying. You know, that stuff is out on the internet, and it's out on the internet forever. So when it's images and things like that, that's where you really need to be careful. And usually that does involve a younger demographic, but it does still involve the college age student.
While we're on the topic,
Sure.
because we have covered it before here on Mom Squad, but specifically sextortion, what age group does it target? What demographic are being targeted the most?
So primarily it's the pre-college age group, so it's your 14 to 17-year-old, so it's your high school demographic, but it does go into college and even beyond that. And it's typically males, which might be surprising to some people. And when it comes to the sextortion, it's, you know, a male is conversing with some type of partner, and again, there's some type of potential romance going on, all online at this point, and then obviously the ask is made to send some type of graphic image, and that is when they try to turn your life upside down. And once you send that image, that's when the threats come. Oh, we're going to send these to your group of friends, and they know, because they look on Facebook, they look on Instagram, they look on all your social media, and they know who your friends are, and they make those threats, again, in attempts to get some type of monetary compensation from you. Yeah. So it's tough.
Yeah. Also, I remember talking about how they might target other kids too, where if it might be, you know, the bad actor might say, I'm going to do something to your family if you don't get me more.
Correct.
Illicit photos of even younger kids or friends, or is that still part of the scam?
Yeah, absolutely, because obviously, you know, as a younger adult, you have a friend network of people of similar age that's what that perpetrator is looking for. And again, it's just to bring more people into the fold, and it's they're either doing it to get more images because that's the goal of their scheme, or it's to just bring more people into the fold so that they can then extort them for, you know, potentially monetary gains and stuff like that.
So from a law enforcement side, are you able to track down who these perpetrators are, or is it always a moving target? Like, how difficult is that?
It's very difficult. So again, we're talking about domestic actors, we're talking about overseas actors. Somewhat are, you know, technologically sophisticated, and they try to hide, you know, their IP addresses, or they're using, you know, voice over IPs, things to mask who they really are, where they really are. So it is a moving target, and it takes time. You know, we have to serve legal process to find out, hey, who does this number really belong to? Is it a legitimate number? Yeah. And, you know, it might resolve back to a country that we don't have the best relationship with, so it might be a dead end. So those are the really tough, you know, cases that we have where it does resolve overseas, and there's really a limited amount of things that we can do at that point, you know.
Yeah, I just in the mind of a parent, you know, if it's happening to my kid, I want to find out who's doing it, and I want to go after that person.
Absolutely. So do we.
But I mean, it sounds like, you know, that can be a little bit more difficult than finding somebody who, you know, in the olden days, it was somebody who was, you know, on the next town over.
Yeah, exactly. They're known to the community. Right. You know, they're a regular at the bar or something like that. Yeah. So, a student at the college. Yeah.
So then, what conversation, if you can put yourself, I know we both have younger kids, that one day we'll be having this conversation. So in the shoes of a parent talking to a child, going off to school, about to go off to school, or late high school years, what is the conversation that you have with that kid about all of the online dangers? What do you start with, and what do you just hammer home?
Again, you know, that phrase, hey, the internet's forever, okay? Be wary of what you're doing on the internet, and they might brush that off. And I totally understand it. We both were that age. Yeah. I understand that. But trying to hammer home what you do on the internet has ramifications, not just now, but in the future. And you need to really think about that and be smart. Be smart with who you're dealing with and what you're getting into when you are in college. It is that transitional time where you're experimenting in a lot of different ways, right? And it's just be smart about what you're doing and who you're giving your information to. And again, that's your information. You know, don't just be giving it to any app that pops up on your computer, or replying to any email, or clicking on this or that. You know, just be wary of what you're getting yourself into during that time period. And then I would say from from the financial standpoint, and this is a good one for the parents. So I know when I went to college, I got my first, debit card, and that was it. The parents wouldn't let me get a credit card because they were worried that I'd run it out. Credit cards are actually better for college students or adults for that matter than debit cards, because if you do get scammed, there's a lot more protections associated with credit cards, because that's the bank's money at that point, right? So the bank is going to fight to, one, reimburse you and get their money back and find out about these scammers, whereas a debit card, that's your money, and the bank's not going to, they're really not going to push as much as they would if it's their own money. So, I know it's scary to think, oh, I'm going to let my kid get a credit card and they're going to run the bill up. But there's a lot more protections associated with credit cards. And starting to think about that fiscal responsibility is another good thing. Not necessarily this topic, but another good thing that parents should be talking to their college students about.
Yeah.
At the end of our interview, Special Agent Koeth recommends preserving any digital records you can. If you get scammed, take screenshots of everything that could possibly lead to the bad actors. Well, we want to thank you for joining me here on Mom Squad. We're hoping everybody has a safe return to school, no matter if your kid is in kindergarten or in college. And we will continue our back to school coverage here on Mom Squad. I'm Maureen Kyle. We'll see you right back here next time.